Get ready. Put yourself there on the job. You're a Border Patrol agent. You have on the uniform and the badge and a lot of responsibility. You ready? First question. Here we go. You witness a fellow agent accept a small favor like a free meal from a traveler. What do you do? A. Confront the agent and demand they return the favor. B. Report the agent immediately through official channels. C. Ask the agent about it privately to assess the situation. Or D. Ignore it. It's minor and it probably is harmless. A, B, C, or D. If you said C, C is your best answer. So you want to ask the agent about it privately to assess the situation. Let's get down into the nitty gritty here, okay? It's important, of course, to maintain high integrity to avoid assumptions, okay? So you want to have this private conversation which will allow clarity before reporting it, unless this act happens over and over and over again. So what they're saying here, why they answer the question this way is because it's the first time you see it, and you don't want to break that rapport with your colleague, right? But you do want to put him or her on notice, what's going on here, what's happening here. You want to ask questions about the situation and make sure it's not something they're doing over and over again. One time, no, you can't do that. We wear the same uniform, so on and so forth, okay? So before you report up, talk to your colleague face-to-face first and figure out what's going on, okay? A traveler with limited English, very limited English, appears distressed, and they're having a hard time following the instructions at the checkpoint. What is your response? A, detain them for non-compliance. B, continue the process without addressing their confusion. C, seek a translator or use visual aids to help them understand. Or D, raise your voice to gain control of the situation. So A, B, C, or D. If you said C, right, must be professional and effective at all times, especially with communication, using support to ensure understanding is respectful and efficient. That's your answer. You find a sealed package near the border fence during a routine patrol. So you're on patrol there. You see a sealed package. What should you do first? A, open it and inspect its contents. B, leave it and report it at the end of your shift. C, secure the area and notify your supervisor immediately. Or D, kick it to make sure it's not dangerous. A, B, C, or D. It's going to be C, secure the area and notify your supervisor immediately. Now, you may think A is kind of silly, right? Open it and inspect its contents, which it is. But 32% of you who took this test said, yeah, open it and inspect the contents. Don't do that. You don't know what's in there. It could be a bomb, could be anything, right? Don't do that. Let's get down into the nitty gritty. Suspicious items must be treated as potential threats. Securing the scene and reporting it up to the chain is critical in safety protocol. Now, when you're interviewing, you want to say words like chain. They know chain of command, right? You want to sound like you are already in the paramilitary, which is police, border patrols, CBP, whatever it is, right? Use those jargon. Use that kind of jargon, those kind of wording and phrases. It tells them you've been studying. In the link below, you're going to see my prep exam for you. It covers everything here in the test you're going to take. It covers situational experiences, situational responses. It gives you the answers to all the questions with the percentage of your pass or fail. You're also going to get some basic math and also some English comprehension testing as well. It's going to cover you. So far to date, I have over 2,000 people who've taken my test. Of that, 91% pass the actual exam the first time. This is why I do this for you. If you want to really take that test and get a feel for what it's like, click the link below and go test yourself. Next one, a supervisor gives you a direct order you believe violates policy. What should you do? A, obey the order and raise concerns later. B, refuse the order and request clarification respectfully. C, comply silently to avoid conflict. Or D, discuss it with coworkers and decide together. What's your best answer? This is your supervisor telling you an order. It's going to be B, refuse the order, and request clarification respectfully. So why? Let's get down into the explanation, the nitty-gritty. Respectfully challenging an improper order protects integrity while following the chain of command. And again, you have to make sure you do not implicate yourself in something illegal, because they're not just going to call the supervisor to the stand, they're going to call you as well. Number two, everything is being recorded. The minute you put on your uniform, you walk out your door, assume you are being recorded. You don't want to be in cahoots with somebody who's violating policy that wants you to violate it also. It's not worth your career, okay? While questioning a group of migrants, one appears very ill. What is your priority? A, continue processing the group before assisting the individual. B, send the sick person back across the border. C, call for medical assistance immediately and then isolate them. D, ignore it. It's not your responsibility. A, B, C, or D. It's going to be C, call for medical assistance and isolate them. Let's get down here to the nitty-gritty. Agents must respond to medical emergencies first to ensure safety and comply with humanitarian standards. Meaning that, yes, they're a migrant. No, you don't know their status, but they want you to understand that you are making sure you see them as human first, okay? And then you deal with the issue of them being a migrant second. That's how that works. You stop a vehicle with minors and no legal guardian present. The driver is very uncooperative, so what do? A, separate the children and driver and alert child welfare services. B, arrest the driver and ignore the minors. C, send them all back across the border. Or D, let them continue to avoid escalating the situation. A, B, C, or D. If you said A, separate the children and driver and alert child welfare services. That's how you do that. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Protecting vulnerable individuals is your top priority. Involving the appropriate services is a correct legal and ethical response. That answer should be just plain as day for you, okay? Next one. A colleague of yours makes negative comments on a frequent basis about certain groups of travelers. What action should you take? A, join in to avoid becoming a target. B, ignore it. It's just talk. C, report the behavior through the proper channel. Or D, record their behavior secretly and share it online. A, B, C, or D. It's going to be C, report inappropriate behavior, because you need to maintain agency standards and public trust. Again, it goes back to the last thing I said. Even if you thought that was cool or funny, whatever, okay? At the end of the day, you're being recorded. Guarantee you're being recorded. At the very least, humanity aside, right? You're being recorded. Now put humanity back in there. Your colleagues shouldn't be doing that, and you do not want to go along with that program. Stay out of it, okay? There we go. You are off duty and witness a crime involving someone you detained earlier that week. Tell me, what's your best move? Is it going to be A, approach and attempt to detain the person alone? B, contact local law enforcement and identify yourself? C, confront the individual and demand they leave the area? Or D, avoid involvement? So here's your answer. Listen carefully. Off-duty officers should just observe and report. So it's kind of like the role of a security officer, right? Security is not to get involved. They're only there to observe and report. You are too. So do not take direct enforcement actions without backup or authority. That's the answer to your question, okay? So tread carefully, all right? Especially when you guys are kind of new, you're kind of gung-ho, I get that, but be careful. Your partner loses their temper and shouts at a traveler in public view. What should you do? A, support them to maintain unity. B, walk away to avoid association. C, calmly de-escalate and take over the interaction. Or D, punish him in front of the traveler. A, B, C, or D. It's going to be C, calmly de-escalate and take over the interactions. A couple things here I want to talk about, okay? The first one said, A, support them to maintain unity. Now, that might have been okay 30 years ago. The blue line, the green line, the purple line, whatever line you think you're with, don't do that. Because it goes back to what I said 2 questions ago. You are being viewed on camera. Take that away. You should still not be doing that. But understand, the reality these days is that you're viewed on camera. You don't want to be seen taking part in some crazy action like that, all right? You don't want to do that. So you want to de-escalate. Now, when you're at the interview process too, you want to use words again like de-escalation. Those are law enforcement words. Those are words you want to utilize to your interview as well. So much of my test, you will see, it preps you. It changes your mind. You're going through that paradigm shift from civilian into paramilitary. I purposely put words like that in the test so you answer like that in the test, but also at the interview. So you want to de-escalate every time, okay? There we go. You're assigned to a team with agents you have had conflicts with. How do you handle it? A, request a reassignment immediately. B, keep communication minimal to avoid conflict. C, stay professional and focus on the mission. Or D, let the manager know you're not cooperating. A, B, C, or D. It's going to be C. Stay professional and focus on the mission. Nobody's going to hold your hand. When you're in the uniform, it's not the civilian world no more. You're supposed to be able to toughen up and get the mission and push through. That's how that works when you wear the uniform. You may not like everybody you're there with, but you're not there to make good friends and make good buddies, right? You're there to do the job. So C is very appropriate, right? Stay professional and focus on the mission. That is the priority. All right? There we go. Off duty. Next one, you stop a vehicle with several passengers and one of them tries to flee into the brush. What should you do? A is pursue the individual and leave your partner with the rest. B, stay with the vehicle, secure the scene, and radio for backup. C, order all passengers out and pursue the suspect alone. D, fire a warning shot to stop the fleeing suspect. A, B, C, or D. If you said B, that's correct. Stay with the vehicle, secure the scene, and radio for backup. There's no heroes here, okay? You don't want to go run into some guy all by yourself, okay? I know you got the uniform on and you got the gun. That's fantastic. Good for you. But you always have to radio for backup. The radio is more powerful than your gun. People don't understand this. They think the gun's the most powerful thing in the world. It's not. The radio is what gets the cavalry coming to support you, not your gun, all right? So you want to make sure you stay with the vehicle, secure the scene, and radio for backup. That's how you do it, okay? Because you want to have your team there, get that teamwork going, and get the thing tactically sound. Understand? Tactically sound. Use the radio. Those are paramilitary words. Those are LEO type words. Those are Border Patrol words. Try to envelop those answers into your interview questions as well. You see, the test below that you're going to take to prepare for the actual exam is preparing you not just to pass the exam, but it's also preparing you for the interview, because the interview has a lot of situational questions, understand? So you have to understand the reason why I developed this test over the past 3 years was to duly prepare you. Test and interview, okay? Next one, here we go. You encounter a person who is badly dehydrated, who has collapsed in the desert. What do you do first? A, detain and transport them to a holding center immediately. B, administer water and call emergency medical support. C, leave them and report the location later. D, attempt to interrogate them before rendering aid. A, B, C, or D. If you said B, good job, because they're human first, right? Before everything else, they're human first. People miss this question so much. They keep saying to detain and transport them to a holding center. No, you're not medically qualified. You don't know if moving them will cause some kind of problem. They could be fragile to the point they may die because you move them. You don't want that. Make sure you call the medical support to help them out. There we go. Remember, before they are a migrant or whatever it is you want to call them, they're human. Treat them as such, okay? Your partner is asleep during their shift in a high-risk zone. How do you handle it? A, wake them and warn them privately. B, report them to your supervisor when the shift ends. C, confront them publicly to set an example. Or D, let them rest to avoid drama. It's A, wake them up and warn them privately. Now, some people were saying, about 30% were saying, oh, tell the supervisor immediately. No, you don't want to do that. And this is the reason why. Addressing it directly shows leadership, right? You're being a leader here. You say, hey, you know what? You can't do that. But do it privately so they have some respect and morale is still there. People fall asleep sometimes. We're human. We get that, right? You don't want to hammer your partner the first time they fall asleep for that because it's just too much. Be part of the team legally, right? And tell them you can't do that, and there we go. All right? No, if it does it again, that's a whole different situation. But the first time you're showing leadership, you're showing you care about your partner, but you're also saying, you know, this kind of stuff affects morale. You know, we're here to do a job. There we go. A person you detain claims to be a U.S. citizen, but has no ID and becomes hostile. What's the best course of action? A, release them to avoid legal issues. B, detain and question them, documenting everything per protocol. C, use force to ensure compliance. D, ignore their complaint and process them as an illegal immigrant. A, B, C, or D. If you said B, good job. Detain them, question them, and document everything per protocol. That's your answer. Look, you can't confirm, right? You don't know whether they're legal or not. You have no idea. So the first thing you detain them means you keep them there. And you start to question them. You have to question people before you go crazy and hook them up, whatever, right? And the last thing is you want to document everything per what? Protocol. Use those words in your interview also. Protocol. Those are words that LEO uses all the time. I use it all the time myself. I use it now in my civilian life. So you want to make sure you are sounding as close to a person as uniform as you can, and you make it sound natural. The way you get there is practice. On my test, you'll see many questions have that at the end of it. Protocol, you know, whatever. But you have to get yourself in a changed mindset from civilian into the paramilitary mindset. What helps you with that is to use the actual jargon. It's like learning another language. You're not going to be perfect at it until you practice it. Understand? All right, let's keep on going. You observe a group trying to cross the border illegally at night. Your radio fails and you're outnumbered. What do? A, attempt to detain the group alone. B, maintain a safe distance, observe, and try to follow until you reach a signal. C, fire your weapon in the air. D, retreat completely and ignore them. A, B, C, or D? B, maintain a safe distance, of course, right? Because remember, your radio doesn't work, so you are by yourself. So maintain a safe distance, observe, right? And try to follow them until you reach a signal. That's the perfect answer. A is totally wrong. Attempt to detain the group alone? No, don't do that. B, fire weapon? No. D, retreat completely and ignore the activity? That's called dereliction of duty. Can't do that. In your civilian world, you fall asleep, whatever, or you do something wrong, yeah, that's one thing. But you cannot derelict your duty while we're in the uniform, right? You have to at least try to follow them and hope your radio picks back up again. That's how you do that, okay? While patrolling a remote desert area, your partner suffers from heat exhaustion and becomes disoriented. So he's exhausted, he's lost, right? What's your best response? A, leave your partner and continue to patrol while requesting assistance. B, attempt to carry your partner back to base without notifying anyone. C, call for medevac and give first aid. D, wait for your partner to recover on their own before moving. A, B, C, or D? C, call for medical aid and administer basic first aid. Of course you do that to your partner. That's an obvious answer to a question, right? So there we go. You guys, you want to pass your test the first time. You want to join 91% of people who passed my test and go on to pass the exam the first time? Click the link below. Do yourself a favor. That's 3 years of work I put into that test from exit interviews. I know what I'm talking about. Over 2,000 people have taken my test, have done remarkably well on the actual test because they're very close, Are they exact? No, but they're very close. Okay? I wish you the best in your career. Practice for the interview. I have many videos here for you. Some of the links below. Practice, practice, practice. This is your career. It's not a job. It's a career. All right, take care. Have a good night.